Let's begin by telling you that members of the proscribed Islamic Movement of Nigeria, also known as Shiites, have resumed their protest. News Central's correspondent in Nasarawa State, Emmanuel Bagudu, reports that the protesters took over the Abuja-Keffi Expressway, which is the main entrance to the nation's capital. Some of the protesters said they are seeking for justice for some of their members who were allegedly killed in a rally by soldiers and policemen. So this afternoon, joining us for more updates on this is our news correspondent, Emmanuel Bagudu. Well, we will be having the opportunity to talk to him on the news this afternoon, hopefully when he joins us live for that. Let's move on now. Hello, Emmanuel, can you hear me? So I'm told that Emmanuel is actually trying to connect with us, of course, to get more details from him. Emmanuel, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay, so while we wait for Emmanuel Bagudu to join us to give us the details as regards the Shiite protests in Abuja, let's bring to you this security-related story. Let's tell you that President Bola Tinubu says his administration has been sensitive to the citizens' needs and yearnings amid economic challenges confronting the country, stressing that different steps are being taken to address the challenges. Tinubu's comments came on the heels of intense criticism that his government has not cut down the cost of governance, as it recently procured a presidential jet reportedly worth $100 million. Speaking at the graduation ceremony of Course 32 of the National Defense College in Abuja, Tinubu stated that his administration had made significant strides in addressing some challenges encountered by the citizens. Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, listed the 70,000 naira new minimum wage for workers as one of the steps taken to address the economic challenges faced by the citizens. And I'll tell you that the Benue State Police Command has announced the release of 20 medical and dental students from the University of Maiduguri and the University of Jos who were abducted in the Otukpo area on August 16. According to Catherine Anene, the police spokesperson, the students were rescued on Friday night. While the details of the operation will be disclosed later, it was confirmed that no ransom was paid. The students were en route to the annual convention of the Federation of Catholic Medical and Dental Students in Enugu when the incident occurred. Also, Muyiwa Dejobi, the force public relations officer, stated that the students were safely rescued from Untukon Forest on August 23. He emphasized that the rescue was carried out tactically by security agencies with the help of local communities and the Office of the National Security Advisor. Earlier, we were joined by security expert Nkotaria Epalibo to discuss this.
No cover was paid, and their rescue was as a result of a successful security operation. Then it means that their efforts must be commended. It's a commendable feat for the Nigerian security agencies to be able to rescue successfully 20 students without any casualty, without any loss. That means that security operation was very, very successful and meant to be commended. If you look at it generally or professionally from the perspective of an insider, it will be very difficult for security agencies to attack the base of kidnappers without casualties, without a fiasco, without a gun battle. And if there were gun battles, if they had to fight to rescue the medical students, then it will be on record that certain number of kidnappers were killed, injured, certain number were arrested, and the casualty usually is not going to be on one side, it's going to be on both sides. Some of the students too would have sustained injury in the process. So the story for me is too clean to assume that casualty ransom was not paid.
Earlier on the news, we told you that the members of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, also known as Shiites, have staged a protest along the Abuja-Keffi Expressway in agitation for the alleged killing of their members by the police and soldiers. And we have our correspondent, Emmanuel Bagudu, who is on the borderline of that particular area, precisely in Nasarawa State, to give us details as regards that particular agitation by the Shiite members. Emmanuel Bagudu, let's have the updates now.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon from Nasarawa State here. And of course, the protest by proscribed IMN, members of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, is very important that we always state that they are actually being proscribed by the federal government. I will know what it means when you say a group is proscribed. So they throng the major streets, the major Abuja-Keffi Expressway, blocking passengers, blocking commuters from, either moving into the city center or going out of the Abuja city center. Now, what brings to mind is what is very shocking is the use of young children, women, and nursing mothers in that protest. You've seen that video which we sent in from Nasarawa State, the one we used our phone to record and send. I mean, it's so disheartening, and to see that I mean a proscribed group take the major street like that. No, but what we were able to find out from them was that why are they protesting? Three major things they mentioned is the fact that number one, they want to actually create that clean their name, because most people in Nigeria have given them a bad name. So those are the reasons why they actually come out. One of the reasons why they come out to tell people that they are actually peaceful people, and their protest is actually peaceful, as you can see, and that they are not troublesome, and their message, they'll continue to say it, they'll continue to ring it out to the general public and to the federal government to listen. What is that message? Which is number two reason why they came out to protest. Of course, the killing of their members by security operatives during one of their protests. And of course, since they have been proscribed, anytime they come out to protest, that is always bloody. So they are actually coming out to continue to call for justice and insist that they are not terrorists. They are, have the right to protest. So it's very, very important to always state that they actually proscribed. What actually makes us pick interest in that story is the fact that they took over a major highway that belongs to the people of Nigeria, and that, of course, that make the entire environment very, very tense. And then the last reason why they are protesting is the fact that they need justice for their leader. Their leader has been harassed, he has been injured, and they don't want him being prosecuted by the federal government. Those are the major reasons why they came out.
So, owing to the fact that, according to what you said, anytime they go out, they are always in probably fisticuff or fight or violence, with, of course, the public, as the case is. Has there been any form of response from the security operatives in the states to ensure that this procession does not go out of hand?
Yes. When you look at it very well, immediately they came out. Of course, they are coming in from Mararaba, approaching Nyanya. Of course, soldiers were already being reinforced at the Nyanya, Nyanya entrance. Nyanya is the entrance to the city center. So, of course, when they have that information, they have to stop the protest somewhere around the Muhammadu Buhari International Market, right in the heart of Mararaba. So, of course, they know, security operatives, you don't expect them to respond to this kind of situation because a group has already been proscribed. Right? So there's no any conversation, there's no negotiation. Of course, no government negotiate with terrorists. So once the government said you are proscribed, they don't negotiate with you. They just allow you to do your thing. And of course, the reinforcement of police officers, soldiers at the Nyanya, border, actually tells you that they're ready for action. And of course, since the Shiite members actually open up to say they are not looking for trouble, they actually want to clean their name, they have to stop the protest and go back to their various homes. So we don't expect, once we see, what we're interested in the fact that it's a piece of Nigeria, once we see anything that is abnormal, we report it, in as much as irrespective of how it looks like. But the most important thing is to always state that the Shiite group is proscribed, and then we can only report their activities, we can only report how their activities impact Nigerian society, and not really reporting who they are. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, before I let you go, Emmanuel, one thing I'd like to clear is as at when, I don't know if you've actually had some sort of communication with them, as at when were their members killed? Because they said that the police security personnel actually killed some of their members. Was it recently? Is it something that happened in the past that now they are actually talking about?
Yes, these are things that happened in the past. You know, the first incident actually happened in 2019, of course, in Zaria, where that led actually to the arrest of their leader, Exazaki. You know, after then, they had a lot of protests in Abuja. They had multiple protests, tens of protests. You know, there was a protest that actually resulted in a shootout. That actually killed, you know, a journalist, if you can remember that. So that actually also resulted in the killing of some of their members. So in several protests, I think that was actually at that point, it was at one of the protests that was bloody that made the federal government actually proscribe them, since most of their protests always ends up bloody and you know, led to a lot of bloodshed. So they have a lot of names they are reading out every day once they come out to the streets. You know, they mention the names of their members who were killed. Of course, the children of Exazaki were also killed in one of the protests. So it's an event that has happened before, and of course, since they are proscribed, they have to, you know, once they are coming out like this, they have to be as peaceful as possible, so that they don't send a bad signal, they don't give the justification for their proscription. So all that they are doing are things that actually happened in the past, as far back as 2019, 2020, 2021. You know, these are the things they are still reeling, and they are still insisting that the organization still stands, and all the messages that they keep on, you know, reeling out to the federal government will continue to be reeled out without any you know, interference. So that's what they are doing right now.
Okay, Emmanuel Bagudu, thank you so much for sharing the updates with us.
Thank you so much.
All right. Still on the news, we told you that President Bola Tinubu has come out to say that his administration has been responsive to the plight and the pains of Nigerians with the policies that he has rolled out and the interventions that his administration has actually given to the people in terms of palliatives and monies to actually mitigate the effects of his policies. And now, to help us understand this particular claim of the president better, I'm being joined by a public affairs analyst, Ismail Awal. Ismail, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me.
So what's your take on President Tinubu's claim that he has been sensitive to the yearnings of Nigerians?
Well, actually, for me, if President Tinubu will say he's sensitive about some of the most difficult, one of the difficult times we are passing through, unless if he has another definition of what it means to be sensitive. Because you see, we all knew that whenever he wants to talk about issues like this, they would jump and talk about increasing minimum wage to 70,000 naira. But we need to look at other factors. For example, when Tinubu was sworn as a president in May, the petrol price was only 185 naira, less than 200 naira. But yesterday in Kanu, I purchased petrol at 980 naira per liter. So for me, with this, I don't know what sensitive means. Electricity, that it was only 68 naira. It is now 225 naira. You see, look at inflation. I can remember the last registration fee I paid in Bayer University, Kano, was around 30,000 naira or 35,000 naira. My brother recently paid 95,000 naira. So I don't really understand what he means by being sensitive to the needs of Nigeria. How does 70,000 naira measure of these increases we have? How does 70,000, how much was the bag of rice, how much is the bag of rice today? So for me, him saying he's sensitive, maybe he has another definition of being sensitive, but I did not see him being sensitive to the needs of Nigerians at all.
Okay, so invariably you are saying that whatever it is he has said or done in the last 1 year has not really benefited anyone. But then I'll still get more reactions from you, Ismail. We need to go on a very short break. When we return, we'll continue with this. Thank you so much for staying with us on News Central. Now, we told you earlier that President Bola Tinubu has said that the various initiatives that his administration had embarked upon shows that he is sensitive to the yearnings of Nigerians. And we have been talking to Ismail Awal, who is a public affairs analyst, to get his thoughts on this. Awal, thank you so much for staying with us. Now, earlier on, it seems as though you said that the 70,000 naira minimum wage that was recently signed into law by the president does not in any way benefit Nigerians based on the inflationary pressures and the high cost of living. But the president alluded to other initiatives that he has implemented to actually mitigate the impact on his economic policies. So would you actually fault his interventions, or maybe governments at the subnational that have been often accused of sabotaging his efforts?
Well, you see, talking of initiatives, the only initiatives you can really see on ground whenever this government is speaking is largely sharing of rice, everything rice. And also, but I didn't see any initiative or any policy on ground that would really work, that would really ease the difficulties we are facing as Nigeria in terms of the inflation and the cost of things. I didn't see anyone. Of course, I can agree with you that there's a problem with governors. Even though some of the governors are denying receiving the bailout, he claimed to be sending out to them, which I think he, as the president, of course, I understand he didn't have control over them, but I think he should, as a matter of urgency, know what to do to treat that matter, because these are truly gone out of control.
What about the 50,000 naira that he gave to about, according to the Minister of Finance, about 650,000 households got it, and some other grants to MSMEs, student loans, the CNG vehicle initiative that was rolled out? Don't you think all that should at least count for something?
Yes, you see, talking about especially the student loan, of course I would say people are truly getting that, because I have seen people I knew personally that have given access to that student loan. But that's not the problem. The problem is when I collected student loan to finance my study or to fulfill my registration fee, then how am I going to live with other my day-to-day activities? I will commend our president for that, but I don't think it is enough to do away with the difficulties Nigerians are facing through. And even after that, of course, there are arrangements. After you finish, you have to pay, and if you didn't get job, you see one or something. But are jobs available? What is President Tinubu doing to make the environment very, very conducive for job creators? What is he doing to create jobs for millions and millions of Nigerians that will coming out of the university in the next few years? So I think that while commending him for that, but I think it is not enough to ease the difficulty. So
that would,
CNG.
Ismail, that would in a way mean that you actually agree with his stance that he's sensitive to the yearnings. It's just that the things is done have not been enough.
No, you see, no. It's just that, let me see, just that I can afford an item for 10 naira, and you come to increase the price of that item from 10 naira to 180 naira. And then when I complain, you now say, okay, come, take 180 naira, go and buy that item, and then later repay me. So for me, if it doesn't make sense it doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
At all.
Okay, so let us quickly talk about the spendings of governments now, including the latest presidential jets. Now, quite a number of people have said that those are necessities, not luxuries. And others have said that it is ill-timed. What's your take?
You see, actually, for me, that is very, 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 very insensitive also. For you to buy 100 million naira jet in the time of difficulty, and you are telling us Nigeria is a difficult time, and I didn't see anything from you or your cabinet. Of course, he had did some initiative maybe to stop others from traveling out, but we didn't see him cutting down his spending. And then the next thing we saw him buying 100 million naira jet. For me, that is actually very, very insensitive to Nigerians.
So just to wrap this up, what do you think the Nigerian government, or should I say the Nigerian people, not even the government now, the Nigerian people can do to ensure that, you know, the government is accountable and is responsible to them?
Well, the problem we are having now is, I'm not even sure if the government is listening to our voices anymore. Because if the government is listening to our voices anymore, I'm very sure some things may change. But I would still call on Nigerians generally to continue voicing out their opinions, to continue to voice out the challenges that are facing in, and if the government did not respond in a way it's supposed to, I'm very sure Nigerians don't know what to do.
Ismail Awal, public affairs analyst, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's now tell you that the National Youth Service Corps says it will issue discharge certificates to prospective corps members who were kidnapped en route to Sokoto State for their mandatory service on August 17, 2023. The victims were ambushed by kidnappers in Zamfara State while traveling in an Akwa Ibom transport company bus. After months in captivity, they were released in batches, with the last, Solomon Daniel Bassi, freed on August 22, 2024. NYSC Director General Brigadier General Yushau Ahmed announced that due to their traumatic ordeal, the victims would not be mobilized for service. Ahmed confirmed no ransom was paid, crediting the rescue to the Department of State Security and the Nigerian Army. The gang leader has been killed, but no arrests have been made. Many thanks for staying with us. We now tell you that the National Black Business Conference, called NBBC 2024, themed We Are Together, is currently holding in Atlanta, Georgia, the United States of America, which resonates with the collective voice of Black business leaders, both domestic and abroad, symbolizing unity, strength, and purpose, with the celebration of National Black Business Month aligned for a unified Black business agenda. It is a virtual event that will announce a task force including the National Alliance for Black Business, the National Business League, and the National Black Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with the World Conference of Mayors and Historic Black Towns and Settlements Alliance, collectively, which represents 250,000 Black-owned businesses. The conference will feature keynote speaker, President Joseph Numa Boakai, the 26th President of the Republic of Liberia. As part of the solution and call to action, a private sector initiative will be announced to connect and empower 1 million women entrepreneurs who trade on the continent. And now we link up with our crew in Atlanta, Georgia for this virtual event.
Has a membership of 200 women. It's a real simple formula. And this initiative is going to be done over a period of 14 months, just to get started. What I'm really excited about this initiative is being kicked off at the National Black Business Convention this weekend, where we already have businesses who are honed in and focused to understanding that to empower our community, we have to empower our businesses with the right resources. What I think, and I know that women are the engine of our economic growth, and that's why this initiative is important to me. In Georgia alone, Georgia is one of those states that is #1 in the business. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs in Georgia. So I know that this initiative is going to take some time, but with the partnerships that we have, I know we're going to be successful. So I look forward to more dialogue. I look forward to us connecting on this platform, because this is the beginning of us growing economies and really lifting a lot of our communities who are struggling across the globe. We know that women always empower our economy, and this is what's going to happen with this initiative. So I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Georgia is behind this initiative. I look forward to continue to support this and giving every opportunity to promote and make sure that our communities are participating and strengthening the connection between women and trade. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your words. And to emphasize the importance of this initiative, if you take a look at...
And of course, we understand that Bongani CZ Bar is actually monitoring and being part of this virtual event. We call it the National Black Business Conference. And we will be getting more details from her later on. Let's now tell you that the lack of access to clean water and improved sanitation facilities has plagued families in Lesotho, especially those in rural areas. 80% of the rural population in Lesotho still collects their drinking water from unprotected sources, and that the majority of them must travel more than 30 minutes to collect this unsafe water. News Central's Bongani Siziba is in Lesotho, and she will be bringing us details of this particular report. Bongani, good afternoon to you. Bongani, can you please talk to us now?
Lekan, can you hear me?
Yes, of course, I can hear you. Go ahead and give us the updates.
Yes, I'm still in Lesotho, Lincoln, in Hatutane village, just outside the city center of Lesotho. So I've been going around just to get a sense of how the citizens here in Lesotho are living. So I'm at one residential area. It's one of many the households here. Remember, yesterday I also spoke about the drought that is here in Lesotho and also the unemployment rate that is here in Lesotho. But let me just take you and our viewers are inside this household and just speak to some of the residents of this place just to know how they are faring. We know that there is drought in Lesotho, food shortages, water scarcities, like you have said. In 2022, I was here in Lesotho and I did a story whereby people were getting water from a well that was so dirty you could see green things there. It's still rather something that some residents here are still going through. But rather, let me speak to Mayor here, that is Elizabeth Dabengwa. She's the resident of this place. Mayor, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much, Mayor.
Yeah, yes, you are the resident of Lesotho, and in this place, we know that there is drought and there's food shortages, there's water scarcity. What exactly are you going through as one of the residents?
Yes, I'm going through a lot of problems because I'm now old. I'm 78 years old. And I built this house while I was still working. And now I cannot maintain it. And it's now dilapidated. And I can't even pay for water because now I'm paying for water. I can't afford to pay for water. I have to pay for electricity. There's no water, I can't grow vegetables. The vegetables that I have here, they die of drought, and I just don't know what to do. Now, on top of everything else, I have a grandson, him with me, and he's only two years, 8 months. And I have to look after him. I'm not good health-wise. I have problems. I have cramps, I have knees, I have all kinds of things. It's very difficult.
Yes, Lekan, as you have heard, quite a difficult situation. She is one among the many elderly women or elderly people who are suffering from the challenges here in Lesotho, the food scarcity, water, and also electricity. Like she said, she also have a small grandson who is here, who was left by the mother because of the economic challenges. So these are some of the economic challenges that the Basotho people are facing, and a lot of them. And as I was driving, coming through here, I could see some feeding their cattle from their household. It means that the cattle can no longer graze because of the drought. And this drought, we are not only seeing it here in Lesotho, we also see it in Zimbabwe, Malawi, Zambia. It's a problem that is around the SADC because the rains were not kind enough this year. It's back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Bongani Siziba, for bringing us the details. We appreciate you for that. Apologies, she was actually covering this particular story as regards water crisis and climate changes we've seen in Lesotho and some other African countries, and not the business meeting. But now go on a very short break on the news. We have more to come. Just stay with us. Now I'll tell you that with 171 confirmed cases of the Mpox virus in Burundi and more than half of the districts affected, the isolation center at King Khaled Hospital in Bujumbura is seeing more and more patients. While Mpox has been known for decades, a new, more deadly and more transmissible strain known as Clade 1b has driven the recent surge in cases. According to the World Health Organization, which has declared an international health emergency over the latest outbreak, Clade 1b causes death in about 3.6% of cases, with children more at risk.
C'est une nouvelle maladie et donc même le personnel de santé n'avait pas de connaissances suffisantes en la matière. On a besoin de renforcer en capacité tout le personnel, tous les prestataires, mais aussi tous les acteurs, pas seulement les prestataires, même la communauté. On a besoin vraiment beaucoup des actions.
Heavy rain has caused severe flooding in the region around Niger's capital, Niamey, submerging roads and cutting the capital off from parts of the rest of the country for several days. Water levels in parts of the Niger River are worrying residents who fear hastily reinforced dikes will not hold.
harino kan balawu dayno kan ka irko mirwada irko isa ir sambu yande hi koyan kangi zorandi goniyan kanga wani ngay goyo igoga temo alhamdulillah ir kanda boray dini igoga boray darandi igo konday igo kanday ngay dingay ginay lahi alaw ir mondu problème kulu.
C'est énorme parce qu'une fois cette digue cède, effectivement toute la zone de la mort sera inondée et beaucoup de personnes risqueraient de se retrouver sans abri, seront obligés de libérer leur maison et les conséquences, Dieu seul peut les mesurer. À l'échelle humaine, on peut juste estimer qu'il peut y avoir des risques de mort, d'inondation, d'effondrement de maisons.
An agreement between armed groups and security organizations has been reached in Tripoli to defuse the serious tensions that have gripped the Libyan capital for several weeks. Plagued by chaos since the fall and death of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, Libya is governed by two rival executives, namely Abdelhamid Dbeibah's UN-recognized Government of National Unity in the west and the other in the east, backed by Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar.
في تمركزات داخل العاصمه الليبيه طرابلس. ركزوا عندنا خطين احنا متوازيين. موضوع تامين الشارع مؤسسه الدوله هذا خط، وموضوع المقرات خط ثاني. الخط الاول سيتم انسحاب جميع الزلميه والرجوع لمقراتها الرئيسيه مش الفرديه. مثلا مثال جهاز الامن العام قاعد في مصنع طبق ما يطلعش من طبق. دي اللي مقر في قرجي، مقر في حي الاسلامي، مقر في سماء، ده كلام مرفوض. مقر في الفاو، مقر في الرقاطه، مقر في سماء، هذا مرفوض. ترجع لمقرك فقط. جهاز الردع يرجع لمقره بالكامل.
Bringing you updates on the coming U.S. election, independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. abandoned his campaign on Friday and endorsed Republican Donald Trump, ending a run that he began as a Democrat, trading on one of the most famous names in American politics. Hours after announcing the endorsement in a press conference, Kennedy joined Trump at a campaign event in Arizona, where the crowd cheered the independent loudly. He said in a press conference in Phoenix, Arizona on Friday that he would seek to remove his name from the ballot in 10 battleground states.
Great causes drove me to enter this race in the first place, primarily. And these are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent. And now to throw my support to President Trump. The causes were free speech, the war in Ukraine, and the war on our children.
In the meantime, former U.S. President and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump thanked Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for his endorsement, calling him a great guy after he suspended his long-shot presidential bid. Trump also attacked the U.S. Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris's speech at the Democratic National Convention. Kennedy Jr., the son of the famous American political clan, has thrown his support behind Donald Trump after announcing on Friday it was suspending his presidential bid. Kennedy condemned the selection of Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic standard-bearer without a primary contest and cited a long list of grievances against his former party that he said had led him to now throw support to President Trump.
She's considered to be the worst vice president in history.
The Nigerian aviation industry is facing significant challenges, but it also holds immense potential for growth and development. Recent events highlight the need for a new strategic approach to the sector, focusing on policy reforms, collaboration among stakeholders, and innovative strategies to enhance the economic viability of airports. We have more in this package. The Nigerian aviation sector, despite having lots of potential, is grappling with several challenges that underscore the urgent need for a new policy direction. Among these are undue government interference, inadequate safety, security, and surveillance equipment, which are crucial for ensuring the smooth and secure operation of flights.
The aviation sector needs a lot of money. It's a highly capital-intensive sector. From the airports to the airline, the aviation sector needs money. So it was disheartening when the aviation sector was put among those who the federal government was deducting 50% from their IGR. It now means that the the sector will not grow.
The high forex, the non-availability of the forex, the high cost of aviation fuel and petrol. We both use the aviation fuel, we also use petrol for other vehicles and other machineries in the airport, the diesel itself, the general inflation, and the insecurity. All these are also affecting the industry in its entirety.
The sector also suffers from a lack of collaboration and financing options, making it difficult for airlines and airport operators to invest in necessary infrastructure and improve its operations.
Collaboration will mean getting all the components together to perform the jobs they were meant to do in an agreeable manner. An agreeable will mean they must adhere to standards, and each one knowing that its segment is important to the overall success of the aviation industry.
These issues highlight the need for a comprehensive policy framework that can support the sustainable growth of the industry.
I would say give concession when rebates to the air transport sector, mostly for airport development. If you want to achieve full infrastructure growth, you must do that.
I think that we should focus on the non-aeronautical revenue generation stream for us to be able to maximize the benefit of the airport.
Why don't airlines seamlessly come together? For every flight going from Lagos to Benin, if there are 2 flights, let them be able to meet and schedule themselves. Among other things, airlines also could put resources together and do common user kiosk at the airport.
The Nigerian aviation industry, while burdened by significant challenges, remains ripe with potential for growth and development. To unlock this potential, it is crucial to adopt a strategic approach that includes policy reforms, increased collaboration among stakeholders, and innovative strategies aimed at enhancing the economic viability of the aviation value chain in Nigeria. From Lagos for News Central, I am Lekan Onabanjo. To tell you that ride-hailing service Bolt has lamented that its financial losses following the Order a Ride prank between Nigerians and South Africans. The prank, which emerged amid ongoing rivalry between Nigeria and South Africa, forced Bolt to restrict inter-country ride requests between the two countries. Speaking on the issue, the country manager of Bolt, Yahaya Mohammed, said the company had launched an investigation to evaluate the financial losses recorded. The ride-hailing company also blocked an undisclosed number of riders, leading to huge financial losses and disruption of service in both countries. We talk sports now. The stadium ban in Brazzaville has been lifted, allowing Congo to host South Sudan for their 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier on September 5. Previously banned due to a failed inspection, the stadium has been upgraded and approved. Libya will also return to its upgraded stadium in Tripoli on September 4 to face Rwanda, marking its first use in a decade. However, the Comoros Islands have lost their rights to host matches in Moroni due to stadium conditions and will move their Group A match against the Gambia to El Jadida in Morocco. Kenya, preparing to host the 2027 Cup of Nations, will move their September 4 match against Zimbabwe to Kampala, while Zimbabwe will stay in Kampala for a September 10 match against Cameroon. Samuel Omorodion Ogelwa has signed a 5-year contract with FC Porto, joining the Portuguese champions until the summer of 2029. The 20-year-old striker, who helped Spain win gold in men's football at the Paris 2024 Olympics, was previously on loan at Alaves from Atletico de Madrid. Despite having a deal in principle with Chelsea, the transfer fell through. Porto will pay 15 million euros for 50% of Omorodion's economic rights, with an option to purchase an additional 15% for 5 million euros in 2025 and 2026. The contract includes a 100 million euro release clause. The move follows Atletico's acquisition of Alexander Solot and Julian Alvarez, prompting the need to offload Omorodion. And finally, Barcelona defender Andres Christensen is expected to be sidelined for up to 2 months due to Achilles tendon injury. The club confirmed that Christensen is suffering from tendinitis in his left Achilles, but did not specify the duration of his absence. He will miss several key fixtures, including La Liga matches against Atletico Bilbao and Girona, and the team's opening Champions League games. Barcelona are also dealing with a defensive crisis as centre-back Ronald Araujo is out until November following a hamstring injury sustained during the Copa America this summer. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we look at our top stories again. Shiite demonstrators have shut down Abuja-Nasarawa Road. Isolation center is said to be treating Mpox patients as cases rise in Burundi. We also told you that Libya government has promised to secure infrastructure in Tripoli. Do send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. And you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Arvo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekan Onabanjo.